Emergency video, main show coming later today as always. I've got to deal with the alleged so-called breaking news that Harry and Meghan have signed a new deal with Netflix. This is not breaking news. This is fake news from a fake couple. The bottom line is that yes, they've reached the end of their 5-year arrangement with Netflix. The original deal worth, we are told, $100 million, though it's my understanding that they received a fraction of that money from the original deal because they barely made any shows. And apart from the warts and all documentary about the royal family, the other shows that they made for Netflix were complete flops. We'll get to that, but let's have a look now at the new deal. So what's happened is that they've signed a slimmed down multi-year deal, but this is not a deal that commissions projects. This is not the green lighting of movies and TV shows. This is a first look deal. What this means is that Netflix have hedged their bets and thought, all right, well, look, no one watches Harry and Meghan's shows. And Meghan herself has become the most toxic figure in the media landscape. I've got the figures for how few people watched her awful cookery show, With Love, Meghan, in just a moment. But the bottom line is that Netflix are hedging their bets by having an arrangement with the Sussexes. This is not a deal. It's an arrangement, a first look agreement where Harry and Meghan can pitch their ideas, their terrible ideas, to the network, and the network have what's known as first refusal. In other words, Harry and Meghan can suggest an idea for a show where it's Harry Goes Gardening, right? What a wonderful, entertaining show that would be. Hello, I'm Prince Harry and I'm gardening. Humpy dumpy dumpy dump. And by the way, I'm the world's least happy millionaire and I'm a terrible gardener. Humpy dumpy dumpy dump. So what happens is the couple will pitch that material and Netflix have the right to say yes. And of course, they will say no, because the only serious hit the couple have ever had with Netflix was Harry and Meghan, which was the documentary in which they dished the dirt about the royal family and in which Harry threw his family, his country of birth, and the monarchy under the bus, with the most egregious moment in that series being the moment where Meghan Markle mocked the late Queen Elizabeth II, former monarch of the United Kingdom, one of the greatest figures in British history. And Meghan on that show mocked the fact that she had to do a curtsy, which is an extraordinary low. But the figures were good. That show made a splash. But you see, the royal connections are and were the Sussexes' meal ticket. That meal ticket has been redeemed. It's been torn up. It's been eaten. The couple are now out for lunch as I continue my gastronomic metaphors. So this is a first look deal, and it won't be $100 million. It will be a couple of million. It could be 2-3 million tops. All it is an exclusivity arrangement. So unfortunately, there will be some product as a result of this handshake, which is not a golden handshake. It's a bronze hand. In fact, it's a wooden handshake. That's how low value it is. But there are a couple of shows that are in the pipeline. The couple's first release under the renewed contract will be A Rhythm Within, a short documentary about the Masaka Kids Orphanage in Uganda, which is pretty embarrassing if you consider that just this week, Prince Harry has lost control of the charity that he co-founded in Africa, in Lesotho, Sentebale, amid accusations of bullying and an almighty row with the chairwoman of the charity, Dr. Sophie Chandauka, which has turned into an incredibly nasty war of words, demonstrating what an angry, bitter, and unpleasant man Prince Harry is. It's ironic because the Charity Commission did not uphold accusations against Harry of bullying, but once the verdict came through, and once Harry lost control of his charity, he started bullying the very self-same woman who accused him of that crime months ago. So we're going to have a documentary about a kids' orphanage in Uganda, an awkward reminder of Harry's failure in Africa, given the fact that Sentebale, with allegations of corruption, incompetence, money wasted, is a smoking ruin of a charity. It's a dumpster fire of a charity. But now we're going to get lectured about the poor folk of Africa in this latest documentary from Harry, who, let's be honest, couldn't run a bath. And then we've got something else to fear. we're going to have a holiday special of With Love Meghan, which was a show that demonstrated that Meghan Markle is not a TV host. It demonstrated that she's not a cook. And it demonstrated that she doesn't have any real friends. In fact, the people that came on that show that we were told were her friends, who looked like they were hostages, quite frankly. It was very awkward. They had that look in their eyes that they were there against their will, desperately trying to mime some kind of message along the lines of, get me out of here. She's terrifying. There was that famous moment where she attacked the comedy actress and comedy writer Mindy Kaling for daring to call her Meghan Markle. Do you remember that moment? Mindy Kaling, who's had a great career, she was in The Office, she's a top producer, she's an extraordinarily talented woman of substance, unlike Meghan Markle, whose only asset is her other half, my husband. That's her only asset. Her only talent is her celebrity prince husband. Anyhow, Mindy Kaling says to Meghan Markle on that awful show that very few people watch, she said, it's a delight to be working with Meghan Markle. And Meghan said, don't you know, I'm not Meghan Markle anymore. With a look of rage in her eyes, by the way. Didn't you know I'm not Meghan Markle anymore? I'm Meghan Sussex. Because, of course, Meghan is a royal when it suits her and not a royal when it doesn't. So the show was awful. It was excruciating to watch. She burnt the food, stuff fell on the floor. All of it looked inedible. I felt sorry for the crew who had to pretend it was delicious. And the so-called guests, because Meghan's got about 2.5 friends. At the end, she had to wheel out Prince Harry, who did what everyone else on the show did, which is to come on camera and tell Meghan how amazing she was. Thank you, my love. You're an amazing person. I just wanted to say you're so incredible and we're all not worthy. Humpy-dumpy-dumpy-dump. So, With Love Meghan is coming back, but exactly like how the Sussexes are pretending this is a really big deal. This is not season 3 because season 1 and season 2 of With Love Meghan were recorded at the same time, gleichzeitig, as the Germans say. Es war gleichzeitig zusammen in der gleichen Zeit gemacht. Achtung, schnell, auf die Treppe, jetzt. Too much German. The bottom line, you can't have too much German. I love a bratwurst. Who doesn't enjoy a sausage in them? Right. So here's the story. With Love Meghan was commissioned, it was 2 seasons. And they were recorded back to back, which means that season 2 is going to be excruciating because they've made it without the feedback from the audience who hated the show. So Meghan will reveal herself in the way she did in season 1. Meghan goes online a few months ago and announces that the show's been recommissioned. It wasn't recommissioned. The 2 seasons were recorded back to back. So that's a flat lie. They were recorded in one block to save money back to back. So the bottom line is that this is not season 3 of With Love Meghan, and that is already your first proof that this deal is non-existent. It's barely worth the paper it's written on, okay? Just like these unpaid bills that I'm dealing with, right? Paper's quite hard to rip, isn't it? It's nonsense. If this was a big new deal, we would have season 3, 4, 5, and 6 of With Love Meghan commissioned. All we're getting is a holiday special. Now, I've been in TV for 25 years. Amazing. It doesn't look like it, does it? You're welcome. I'm very well preserved. The lighting in here is good, and I'm on keto. Here's the truth. In my experience on television, if something comes back not for another season, but a holiday special, that means the series is over, okay? If all you're getting is a one-off special, the show's over. Okay, it is over. It's over. It's over, as Roy Orbison famously sang. Maybe a little more in tune than that. So it's a devastating setback for Meghan that quite clearly With Love Meghan is not coming back for season 3. We're getting a holiday special. And, I feel lied to by the Sussexes because it was dribbled out in the press that season 3 was coming. Well, I think this is season 3 and it's one measly show. Not 6, not 8, not 10, not 12. So that's not a vote of confidence from Netflix. The couple are also developing, may God help us, a feature-length adaptation of Carly Fortune's romance novel, Meet Me at the Lake. Well, folks, meet me at the lake, and I want to jump in that lake with lead weights attached to my feet. because the idea of Harry and Meghan as movie producers, I mean, bring back Harvey Weinstein, get him out of jail, okay? And let him produce it. He's a monster. He's a terrible monster, but I'd rather see Harvey Weinstein, an evil monster. I'd like to see him back in business in Hollywood than this pair of jokers, these, as they were described by a Spotify executive, these effing grifters. Not my words, the words of an unnamed Spotify executive. That was another deal that went south, by the way. $20 million with Spotify to make podcasts. Well, they made one podcast, Archwell, named after their son, which is creepy. Why are you turning your kid into a celebrity by putting his name into the name of the charity and into the name of your podcast? The kid's 3 years old back in the day. He's older now. That's creepy and narcissistic to put your kid's name in your projects before he's had a chance to decide, do I want to be a celebrity? But that's Harry and Meghan. Now, Netflix content chief. So, by the way, this movie, Meet Me at the Lake, it's gonna be a flop. It's gonna be a cold, miserable experience like the lake itself. And we've heard from Netflix content chief Bela Bajaria, who praised the couple as influential voices whose stories resonate with audiences everywhere. I mean, what is Bela Bajaria on? Has she been eating Meghan Markle's strange flower sprinkles from the TV show? Those flower sprinkles, which in my view are hallucinogenic, toxic, and people aren't supposed to eat flowers. The viewing figures have been terrible for the couple. So what are Netflix thinking? Well, all they're doing is they're keeping the door open. And by the way, the reason why Meghan and Harry will get a handful of million, if you want a number from me, given my experience and understanding of the industry, I think that Harry and Meghan are getting a $5 million first look deal. And I think it will last 3 years. That's my best guess. It's not 100 million. Okay. It's 95 million less than that. And this is a first look deal. And Netflix will look first and then they will look away in horror because it ain't going to happen. So the viewing figures for their shows, apart from Harry and Meghan, in which they sold the royal family down the river, they've had nothing. So, for example, With Love Meghan had a strong week thanks to the opening week, thanks to All the Noise. And it slumped to number 383 in Netflix's own global rankings, with a total of 5.3 million views, which is nothing for Netflix, okay? With a show that had a team of 80, and they can't come up with more than 5.3 million views. The Mark Dolan show's only been on air 6 months, and we've had about 15 million views. You're welcome. And I'm not the Duchess of anything. Although I do feel I have class and royal breeding. I got blue blood anyway. I'm seeing the doctor about it on Tuesday. That show was a total flop, critically panned. Even the woke publications like The Guardian in the UK said it was a horror show. So that reaches number 383 in Netflix's own global rankings. And this was the big show, With Love Meghan. And I can honestly tell you, you could put out a video of my neighbour's cat, Reg, who visits the house from time to time. Not my cat, he thinks he owns the place. Right? And you would get more views of my neighbour's cat, Reg, than Meghan's absolute horror show, which was barely cat food, to be quite honest with you. In fact, it was cat litter, metaphorically, in TV terms. Polo was Harry's big project, released in December 2024, fared even worse. It got 500,000 views. All right, this is from Harry, who is King Charles's son, right? And he can't get more than 500,000 people to watch. And it languished at number 3,436 worldwide. Now, one of the reasons why this deal is sort of tickling along, but at a much reduced rate, is because Netflix made the insane decision to do business with Meghan, who hasn't got an entrepreneurial bone in her body. But the As Ever brand is going to be selling some of her disgusting jam and the flower sprinkles and the rosé wine, which I wouldn't use to clean my 14-year-old Prius car. But they've gone into business with a kind of partnership for the retail side. It's going to be a horrible, horrible flop. But they're all in, so they need to save face, which is why they've done this deal which buys Netflix some time before they realize what a terrible mistake they made in the first place. So this first look deal, right? It is a non-existent comparison to the original deal with Netflix. It's a downgrade, right? They have been reduced to nothing. It's embarrassing. And the reason why they're only getting, in my opinion, my guess, $5 million. And the reason why it's going to be 3 years, not 5. And the reason why they were able to strike such an easy deal, Netflix, is because there's no competition. No one was fighting Netflix for Harry and Meghan's signature. And Netflix are already getting cold feet with celebrities anyway. They've pulled out of a deal with Michelle Obama and her Higher Ground Productions because these celebrities might be very famous. They got profile. They're on Instagram. But the public, as we call them in Britain, the great unwashed, don't want to hear these rich hypocrites and for them to lecture us about God knows what, the state of the planet, environmentalism, inequality in society, because these are the good people and we got to sit there and listen to their completely hypocritical rubbish. It ain't going to happen. So there you go, folks. Listen, Harry and Meghan, on paper, they got a deal, but it ain't worth the paper it's written on. Tune in for the Mark Dolan Show in full, which is dropping at 9 p.m. UK time today, 1 p.m. US West Coast, 4 p.m. US East Coast. America, can you not be so big? It's very, very inconvenient. Early morning down under. I'll see you for the main show. I'm Mark Dolan. Like, subscribe, and I'll see you soon. Stay awesome.